52.
Bella.
Everything, 294.
Bryant.
Paper Towns 20.
Bryn.
Okay, for now, 203.
Camilla.
The Dragon to Paper, page 228.
Derek. Okay. So I'll be calling people up. There's a lot of you who had new books today, so I already have my list of people who I already had to talk to from new books, so I may not get to everybody today, but I'll get to as many as I can. Stay focused and be reading into your book, and we'll do the quick conferences with me. When you conference, make sure you bring the book up with you. Okay? Bring the book you're reading now as well as the book that you finished. If for some reason you don't have your book with you today, just tell me before we call you up. Okay? All right. Happy reading, everybody.
Why does this society have handmaids? So what did you think of it? That's good. So I think it's like really fast-paced reading, and it's just really, I don't know, like it's really interesting, and everything just goes with each other. The characters, the romance in there, it just makes you like really excited about reading it.
So you like the romance part of it too? Okay. So how did that relationship change over time, like particularly on his end?
On his end, I wasn't really sure if he like actually cared for her or just wanted someone to, you know, like to feel like he was in an actual relationship. But she didn't really feel anything towards him, in my opinion.
And who was posted about fame? What does this book say about fame, and what do you think of it? Well, I don't know. It just kind of like more shows like the bad side of fame, I think, because like there's definitely a lot about like how the press like kind of like destroys celebrities' lives. Like they're always like super invasive. And they like don't give like people like celebrities any privacy, so it just kind of like talks about how like fame isn't everything. And this is like this another one in this show that love has more power than anger. Yeah, so the way they end up rescuing the dad is because it, whatever it is, doesn't have love. It just like can like control you. So by her having love, she has something that it doesn't, so that's what ends up helping her save Charles Walls in the end. What did you do when you felt like, where did you get the sense that some things were too hard for you?
Like sometimes at the end of a chapter or something, there'd be like a paragraph or something, and I wouldn't really understand exactly what she meant.
And what did you do when that happened? Did you just, what did you do?
I tried to reread it a few times, and if that didn't work, I just moved on.
Yeah.
I found out that I was more than introvert.
Was that news for you?
Yeah.
And so, how did that connect to this?
Because I don't know, like a lot of like I guess with me personally, it's just kind of like I'm kind of exhausted, but like not because like I'm tired, but just because like I'm like a lot of people at a time, and I just kind of want to be by myself.
Yeah, yeah. So it's great how you can kind of capture in just a few words some things you're capturing here. Obviously, there's fewer words on the page compared to a normal book, and I'm kind of surprised it took you 2.5 weeks to get through this book. So I really want you to challenge yourself. Like, this is a great book to read, but it probably should take you like a week or so, given how many words it was. So I really want to challenge you to read more the second half of this unit. So this is a good choice for you, I think, Ghost.
So if you haven't already, please queue up your Read Next doc, and I want to share with you a couple of books. First, I'm going to have Bryn give a book talk on one of the books she read this year called When Breath Becomes Air. I believe it's nonfiction, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So Brent, come on up and bring your book and tell us a little bit about that. So once you have your doc queued up, if you like what she's, the book that she's describing, go ahead and add it to your Read Next doc. But if you could go ahead and like give your attention to Brent, that would be great while she's presenting. So maybe swivel around if you have your back to her so you're looking at her.
Okay, this is When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. I'm not gonna say that right. So this is a true story. So he was a neurosurgeon in school and he was just gonna graduate, but then he was diagnosed with level stage 4 lung cancer. And this is kind of like his story, and he thinks a lot about the meaning of life because of this, because he died actually pretty young. And I'll read a short passage. I started this career in part to pursue death, to grasp it, uncloak it, and see it eye to eye, unblinking. Neurosurgery attracted me as much as its intertwining of brain and consciousness, as for its intertwining of life and death. I thought that a life spent in the space between the two would grant me not merely a stage for compassionate action, but an elevation of my own being, getting as far away from petty materialism, from self-important trivia, getting right there to the heart of the matter, to truly life and death decisions and struggles. Surely a kind of transcendence would be found there.
So why did you choose that passage?
It shows you how deep he thinks about his job and how the reason why he chose neurosurgery was actually because he wanted to figure out the meaning of life and the difference between life and death.
And so, just summarize again, why did you like the book?
Well, I like how it's a true story. Usually I don't like true stories, they're not that interesting to me, but this is actually really interesting. Also, I'm kind of into science and medical stuff, so I liked it.
Awesome. Any questions for Brent about the book? So if you like that book, add it to your Read Next as a possibility of something you want to read. Did you get it at the school library?
No, my mom gave me.
Mom, okay. Okay, well, that was a library book, but I bet you the school library has. You can always look it up, check. I want to do another quick book talk as well. So has anyone read this book, We Were Liars? Has anyone read that one? Has anyone read anything by E. Lockhart? So she's supposed to be kind of well known for young adult literature, like high school age kind of literature. And so this book is basically about these kids who go to this, they're very wealthy, and they go to this private island off of the coast of Massachusetts every summer. But it's kind of like it's just them on this island. I mean, it's very tiny. There's like 5 houses. The grandfather owns them all. And so these kids come, they're kind of cousins and friends. And then there's one other kid who comes who's not from the affluent lifestyle of everybody else. And the main narrator kind of falls in love with him, and so it's their relationship. But then some secret things happen. It's called We Were Liars, with a lot of lies involved. But it's really about relationships and kids and what happens when you get caught in lies and what happens when you're kind of being stuck in what society wants you to be versus what you want to be. It's I think it's really relatable and it's a good book. So I want to read this one excerpt on page 33. So dinner conversations, so if you're interested, add that to your Read Next list. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes. I'd like you to talk with your group, any titles that you're reading now that you would recommend. So tell your group, and if you like the titles, add it to Read Next. And then I'm going to give you some time to add, the goal is to add at least 3 titles to your Read Next doc right now in the next 5 minutes. Okay? Go ahead and start with conversation. Go. What are you reading now? Tell your group what you're reading now and if you recommend it. Or what you just finished recently and if you recommend it.
Okay, so I finished Looking for Alaska. So it's about this main character, Kaijin, who goes to a boarding school in Alabama, and he's originally from Florida. And it just revolves around him and his friends and his roommate. And what's that book called? What's that book called?
Which one?
The one you recommended.
Ancillary Justice.
After you've done talking, you can go to goodreads.com or look at the links under the free reading section of Google Classroom. Shop for books. You have about 4 minutes to try to add at least 2 titles to your Read Next doc. I said 3, but 2 or 3 titles would be good.